What is being transgender from a spiritual perspective? Being transgender from a spiritual perspective is simply knowing the origins of the identification of transgender. Know that this gender has been around since the beginning of time. It is nothing new. You see it in nature. You see it amongst the indigenous tribes. It was readily accepted and even revered. Yet within today's societies, it is viewed as strange, outcast, other. But that is anything but the truth. Transgender is a mixing of souls. It is an incarnation that was chosen by a specific soul to experience a wide range of articulations throughout the body. To pick one gender is to pick one path. To pick two genders is to experience it all. Every soul will go through this delineation at some point and experience it at one time or another, for that is what it is, an experience. It is simply that in these days and times, it is one that requires bravery, courage. These souls are multiplying on the planet and coming forward in greater numbers to break down the polarity that exists on the planet. You see things as black and white, yes or no, right or wrong, but that is not the way that true nature is, nor is creativity. Creativity is everything. It is yes and no and then some, all that lies between. There is no right or wrong, it simply is. Transgender is a beautiful representation of this, for it works the mind for those whom are not. It endows them to asking questions they might otherwise ignore, and it brings about in them all kinds of triggers and warnings, fears and doubts about the world at large. You must know that to be born into a transgender body takes a ferocious soul in these times, for they know what it is they will experience, what they may need to go through, and even those who choose death at the hands of others to bring about awareness for the community at large. Transgender is playing a huge role in the evolution of this planet, for it brings it closer to singularity, to wholesomeness, to all being one. You may sit back in your seat and think that this is simply a confusion on the part of the individual, when it is anything but. Yet even if it was, what place would you have to judge it? For each person who walks upon the planet at any time is simply here for themselves, to experience what it is that they chose to experience. Others must be allowed to experience their own. Judgment serves you not. Judgment simply breaks down the barriers of understanding that everything is limitless, that creativity knows no bounds, and that humans are humans. It is a travesty for us to see the ways in which modern society treats these individuals, yet they are here nonetheless. They show up, share themselves, inviting in ridicule, violence, and hate, simply because they are who they are. They knew what they were getting into ahead of time, yet they chose to be part of a tidal wave that is coming on the planet, to play their own part, and to break up the rigid thinking that has run rampant on the planet for so long. It is very important for the modern day person to begin thinking with their heart and not their mind, and this is what the transgender community is welcoming in. They are a beautiful mixture of people to have upon your planet. Why have souls chosen to incarnate as transgender? It's important for us to say, as we have already said, this is an experience that the individual wants to experience. Yet those who choose to incarnate as a transgendered person at this time are some of the strongest among you, for they know the steps they're walking in, and they know what it is they must do, especially those who are born into communities where they will be ostracized from every angle, demonized, and considered to be atrocious in the eyes of God. But know that God loved them just as God loves you. God loves all its creations. There are none that are better than any others. They are all equally important. Yet those souls who walk in the shoes of the transgender beings are those who have chosen to carry a heavier weight to educate and bring about change on this planet, even at their own detriment. Yet know that great joy exists within them and within their community, for they see each other as the many colors of the rainbow, instead of just one or the other. They understand life from a completely different perspective and are able to welcome in others with compassion in a way that those who are born with one gender are not as readily available to do. It comes to them much easier, for they know what it is to be all instead of one, and they know the importance of being all, of welcoming in all. Know that they will play a great role in the change that is taking place on the planet, in the governments, in the higher positions, and the positions that will enact change, and these acts will be for the benefit of all. What are the blessings of the transgender community? There are so many, and of course, there are several that we have already chosen and touched upon. First, we'd like to say that these individuals live from the heart. They do not live from the mind, for the mind will get them in trouble. The mind will demonize them. Therefore, as we said before, they see themselves as all the colors of the rainbow. They do not put themselves into any one box. They simply call themselves they, them, which encapsulates all. We know that this is confusing for many, but again we wish to reiterate that your path is your path. Their path is their own. They will bring about great change on this planet, not only through their love but through their vision. For they are not lost in the polarizing perspective. They see wider and broader, especially those who are able to see past their own hurt and pain. They are able to contain great compassion for humanity at large, especially for the disparaged, those who have gotten the least amount of attention, those who live on the street, those who have little to nothing, the women, the children, those who would be left behind by those in power. They will fight for them. They will fight for anyone who has walked a painful path. There are more of these individuals needed on the planet at this time, and that is much of what their purpose is about, learning how to love themselves and utilizing the love that they develop for themselves for the rest of mankind and humanity. They bring about great blessings to this planet. They have the ability to see through others and to see the pain in others that a one gender does not have, not as easily, for it comes to them naturally. They have many superpowers in these ways, which is why when they come together, it is always a joyful celebration. Why they rarely fight and bicker, why their households are so different, why they will raise their children differently. It is with this wider perspective, open arms, around all and everything. They are a great blessing upon the planet. This is what the indigenous tribes knew and appreciated, and why they considered them to be so wise and such a gift. But not many were born in those times. However, many have come forward at this time to begin populating the earth, raising the vibration, and shifting the perspectives. They carry the brunt of this change, which is why life for them can be so difficult. Yet that wave will surely change, and one day soon they will be greatly loved and appreciated for the insight they bring to the planet. What is most important for us to know about the transgender community? What's important to know is that they are indeed a blessing for all of humanity. Welcome them in, give them a platform, wrap your arms around them. For those who have chosen to incarnate as a transgender at this time are bearing a heavy burden. They question themselves. They do not want to be who they are. They do not want to live upon the planet. They do not understand why it is that they have and are walking the path that they have been given. This is why immense love must be showed towards them, and why it is important to build up their voices, to support them in their causes, and to revere them in their perspectives. It is important to support and cultivate this community on planet Earth at this time, for their love is needed, their insight is warranted, and they can help shift the planet very quickly.